Onto your hat for sure, and over the past couple of days, investors have certainly had to hold on to their hat. It's been quite the roller coaster ride on Wall Street. This chart shows the last 5 days of trading and a lot more downs than ups on the screen. A lot of red. It might make a few of us nervous, but it's important, of course, to keep it all in context, say the experts. This chart shows the Dow over the past 20 years and how over time stocks have performed extraordinarily well. Back in 1995, the Dow was just at 5,000. Big day when the Dow crossed 5,000. It closed under just 16,000 yesterday, so things have gone up over time. Again, the market's open in just about 30 minutes. You see the big board waiting to open, and of course, we will take you there live for the opening bell. Meanwhile, Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump saying, "I told you so" on China. Here he is speaking to Bill O'Reilly last night.
I've been saying for a long time on your show and on anybody else that wanted to listen that we're tying ourselves so closely to Asia and in particular to China that this is going to be trouble for our country. And not only now have they taken our jobs and they've taken our base and they've taken our manufacturing, but now they're pulling us down with them. And I said, we can't do this. We can't allow this to happen. And we have to do a big uncoupling pretty soon before it's too late. I've been saying this for a long time, Bill.
Steve Hayes joins us this morning, senior politics editor for the Weekly Standard, Fox News contributor. Steve, it seems like the stars are aligning for Donald Trump. He launches his campaign on immigration. You have the Kate Steinle murder, as tragic as that was. Then he starts talking about China and trade with China, and you have the stock market collapse because of China.
Yeah, I think that's right as a political matter. I mean, Donald Trump has been talking about China. He talks about it regularly. He says we have to get tough, particularly with respect to trade. But I think his assessment here isn't exactly on the mark. I mean, Donald Trump has been talking about strong China, the need for the United States to confront a strong China. In fact, as Melissa Francis just made clear, what we're seeing here is as a result of a weakening China. You've seen China's GDP, its growth rate, basically cut in half over the past couple of years, and that is why we're seeing the Chinese government take these measures to try to mitigate the effects of that. So it's not, in fact, that China is strong in this particular moment, as Donald Trump would suggest.
Interesting spin from Donald Trump as he sort of tries to pivot and say, "I told you so" on both sides. I want to put up this poll as it relates to what voters think is important. Back in 1992, Clinton won because it was, quote, "the economy stupid," is what they had there in his campaign headquarters. Moving forward now, is Donald Trump going to be able to capitalize on that? Is still a vast plurality of voters say the economy is the most important thing, or is the fact that he's been a real estate tycoon, not a politician, work against him?
Well, I think right now it's working for him. The question is whether he can sustain that. I mean, you look at Donald Trump, and in many respects, he's speaking for disaffected blue-collar workers across the country, particularly in the Rust Belt, in the Midwest, some in the South. And he's doing so very effectively right now. The poll numbers indicate that. The question is whether somebody who's basically a proud plutocrat, somebody who taunts his wealth, flaunts his wealth, can continue to speak for that segment of the populace. If he can pull it off, it will be surprising to me, but certainly it will be to his benefit because he's done it pretty well so far.
We'll see if uncertainty among voters means they're willing to pick somebody who challenges the status quo. Steve, stick around for a second.
Yeah, well, the possibility of Joe Biden running for president seeming a bit more real today as President Obama reportedly gives his blessing during a private meeting yesterday. Nobody knows exactly what happened behind those closed doors, but Steve, you know, when you look at this, the Joe Biden question, it's becoming really interesting. I mean, when you've got a White House that is talking to Joe Biden behind the closed doors, as we said, and, you know, not saying that they're supporting Hillary Clinton, not necessarily saying that they wouldn't support Joe Biden, you got to ask some questions.
Yeah, you absolutely do. I mean, I think this has been a rather extraordinary series of developments going back about 3 weeks when President Obama said, in what many took to be a signal to Joe Biden, that he, President Obama, could easily win a third term. Some took that as a blessing on Joe Biden to consider a run. Then you had this Maureen Dowd column, which really just stoked the speculation about a Biden run, was quoting from Joe Biden's thoughts about a presidential run and his feelings about the loss of his son. And then you look forward to what seems to be a carefully orchestrated rollout of a campaign designed to encourage speculation about a Biden candidacy. None of this is happening by accident, and it culminated yesterday with Josh Earnest from the podium having very kind things to say about Joe Biden, about a prospective Biden run. Very interesting developments over the past several weeks.
Yeah, he said the president's best political choice ever was the choice of Joe Biden to be his vice president. And we all remember there was even talk when he ran the second time, President Obama, that maybe he would get a different running mate. That seems to happen every time somebody runs for a second term. But the president shut that down very quickly. I have nothing but confidence in Joe Biden. But, you know, how well will he wear is the question. He ran in 1988. He ran in 2008, ended up taking the second spot on the ticket then. He's not been successful at this before.
He hasn't been successful at this before, and he's got many liabilities. I mean, look, he will own the Obama administration in a way that Hillary Clinton has sort of chosen to thus far, but maybe wouldn't. Joe Biden can't run away from Barack Obama very well, and if the country continues to believe that the country's on the wrong track, that's a liability for Joe Biden. But you're right, he's not been a successful candidate in the past, and if you look at just sort of the quirky things that some people love about Joe Biden, that reporters like to cover about Joe Biden, but other people might find creepy. You see these montages of Joe Biden sort of canoodling various women, giving them hugs in ways that look uncomfortable. You know, that's not the kind of thing that I think he'll be able to really talk about or defend very well.
I know. This is true, and we will see lots of it. You know, but you raised an interesting point. We got to go. But if Joe Biden runs, it sort of gives Hillary Clinton a much longer leash to say, you know, arm's length with the Obama administration. A lot of people had, you know, second thoughts during the Obama administration, saying they wish it was Hillary that they had voted for. And that would really give her the ability to kind of come at him a lot more full force.
It would be a pretty dramatic turn, though. I mean, everything Hillary Clinton has done in this run-up to her candidacy has been to embrace Barack Obama, to continue to campaign on the left, to hug all of his policies. For her to distance now, I think it would be tough.
All right. Steve, thanks. We'll see you later.
You bet. See ya.
All right, so as Vice President Biden weighs his options, many say he's weighing his options because of the controversy surrounding Hillary Clinton's email server, and it is certainly weighing on her campaign.
We're talking about information that went to the Secretary of State, who is the highest foreign relations officer of the United States. It's inconceivable to me that a great deal of that was not classified.
But get this, Hillary Clinton is claiming she is being held to a different standard than everybody else. Really? Former Attorney General Michael Mukasey is here to weigh in on that.